If you are 54 or younger, or specifically if you're 35 to 54, if you fall in that age range, you could go to work, maybe you go to an office, you put your feet up on the desk, you decide, hey, I'm not going to take a phone call, or maybe you don't take a couple phone calls. You could do that. You're more likely to keep your job, to keep that job, than somebody who is 55 or older. Do you want to know how I know that? Well, over the past 6 months, workers 55 and older were 17% more likely to be laid off than employees between the ages of 35 and 54, and that's according to a recent study by the Retirement Equity Lab. According to that think tank, this is the first time since 1973 that unemployment gap, the gap between these two age groups, has persisted for 6 months or longer. In this video, we're going to talk about the age gap. We're going to talk about how you can avoid, or hopefully avoid, falling into that category, that 17%. That's all up next, right here on Over 50 TV. Before we talk about why workers over 55 are suffering record job loss over the last 6 months, I'm going to ask you to subscribe to Over 50 TV. To do that, all you've got to do is hit that little red button. It's underneath your screen. There's also a little bell. If you hit that little bell, every single time I upload a video, you'll be notified in your inbox. And there's a thumbs up button. If you watch this video, you like it, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Over the past 6 months, workers 55 and older were 17% more likely to be laid off than employees between the ages of 35 and 54. And I mentioned that in the opening. And this is according to a recent study by the Retirement Equity Lab. According to them, the think tank, this is the first time since 1973 that this unemployment gap between these two age groups has persisted for 6 months or longer. Now, folks who have not experienced ageism, if you're over 50 and you've never seen it, never heard of it, you may doubt these statistics, or you could pretend that they don't apply to you. But I'll tell you this, if you've seen ageism in action, these stats, they're a sobering reminder that ageism is well entrenched in the U.S. labor market. Of course, it didn't help the older workers that during the lead up to the November presidential election, the candidates, they constantly questioned the cognitive ability of their opponent. And what this did, it just likely increased the unwarranted and unnecessary attention on the ability of older workers to do their job. Those constant attacks, to me, they just serve to reinforce the ageism stereotype that devalues age, experience, and wisdom. Now listen, every week I hear from people who believe that they were laid off or fired from their job or relegated to a lesser role at their company because of their age. Most of these people, these folks are angry, they're frustrated, and they're upset. Many never thought that in 2020, after decades of working hard, following the rules, and taking care of their family, they'd be fighting to prove their worth. But really, that's the cold reality. We know that 56% of older workers, they're laid off before they're ready to retire because of their age. What we also know is this, 9 out of 10 of those workers, they never again make as much money as they did in their last job. This data, these statistics, this report, yes, it's kind of scary. It can be something, though, I believe that can be a catalyst for change, because all is not lost. Just look at your job loss if that's what happens to you as a temporary setback. You don't have to be a victim. Don't act like one. Without question, you can overcome these obstacles and the ridiculous notion that age is a hindrance. But to overcome, you're going to have to work harder. You've got to develop high income skills. You've got to learn, and what I say is stay up to date on the latest technology. Develop your communication skills. That's so critical, so important. Another thing, network like crazy, and even consider starting your own business. Most of all, stand up for yourself and don't give up. If you do these simple things, if you follow this formula, I know you can improve your odds of making a good, maybe even a much greater income. You know, someone once said, and I remember this, and you've probably heard this too, failure is not an option. If you have that attitude, I know you can win. I know you can overcome an obstacle like being laid off from your job or maybe being underutilized at your company. You can overcome. There's no question about that. But I want to say this to you. I know these statistics, and I'll say this again. The statistics, they can be overwhelming. Take charge now. If you lost your job, you know what? You're going to have to work hard, as I mentioned. If you haven't lost your job, all right, good for you. But you know what? I would still do the things that I recommended. I would definitely be sure that you keep your skills up to date, that you understand and learn the new technology. And above all, it's important to never give up. Well, that's all I've got for you today, folks. I just wanted to give you the data, give you this report. And I think it's important to share the information with you so that you know what's going on in the workplace, but you know about career trends. So that's all I got for you. As I always say, please go ahead and subscribe to Over 50 TV. You can do that by hitting the little red button that's underneath the screen. There's also a little bell. If you hit that little bell, you'll get the latest updates. Every time I upload a video, you'll be notified. And once again, give us a thumbs up button if you found value in this video. Well, as I always say, have a great day, everybody.